Alright, what's up guys? Second time I'm making this video actually. I made the video before, but I had some settings wrong and the video turned out really shitty. So, gonna run through it again. So here's my bomber. Um, very, very simple in my opinion, as all bombers really are if you have the basic concept. By basic concept, I mean you just generally the most important things are your wings and thrusters. You want to have these towards the upper part of your plane. For one, stability, it just makes sense. Put them up there, it'll be more stable than if you have them on the bottom. And also, since you're a bomber, you're going to be flying at very high altitudes. So if you're getting shot at from below, you want to have them as far away as possible from fire, because without wings, you're basically useless. Same concept with your thrusters. Notice I have 4 thrusters on my craft that are hidden almost completely by this electroplate here. This one isn't too hidden, but that's alright because my other 4 ones are, and I really only need 4. I have 6 total, 6 tier 6 thrusters, 4 tier 6 wings, and 2 tier 6 rudders. Rudders are definitely worth it to upgrade. Definitely suggest you get them. Same with thrusters. Don't skimp on your thrusters. Definitely get as high thrusters as you can. It'll help a ton, giving you more speed, more thrust per thruster. Because generally, I don't like to have, like, some people are like, oh, they have like 3 tier 5 thrusters and like 4 tier 2 and then just a bunch of random thrusters in every available block they can. No, I don't like to do that. Get your main thrusters. That's all you need. Put them here. Put how many ever you need or how many ever you want, but don't just load up like, oh, I can fit a tier 2 here, let me put one there and a tier 2 here, and I have a whole row of thrusters. Like, it's not necessary. Don't do it. You really don't need to. Other important notes are have your guns all the way at the bottom. This is pretty much mostly because you want them to be able to fire at 360 degrees without hitting any part of your ship. You want them to always be able to get all 4 shots off. If you try to armor up your guns so they survive longer, sure, they'll survive longer, but they'll also hit your ship, and so most of the time you're not even going to be shooting. It's pointless. So leave your guns unarmored. They're not that important anyways. If your gun gets shot off, it's really not that important. You can still be useful to the team without getting kills. Um, Still on the point of armor where you can, but as I said in my thread, don't worry about it. I mean, as you can see, I'm a tier 6 bomber, but I still have these blocks, which are really low for what tier I'm in. I mean, I'm upgrading them as I can, but whatever. Um, so basically, oh, I'm sorry, it's my dog. I don't know if you can hear him. I don't know what his problem is. But so basically, armor where you can. Don't worry about it though. That's all you need to do. I mean, if you don't have electroplates, blocks will work fine. Just run some blocks under here or under your wings. I mean, as you can notice, even my wings are still showing due to electroplates from the bottom. I don't think it's that big of a deal because your survivability doesn't come from your armor. It's gonna come from how you play, which I'll show you how I play in a few minutes. You can build like a freaking flying tank if you want, but if you watch that first video the guy posted in the forum, if you look in the YouTube comments for that, he said he said he spent about 5 million RP on that vehicle, and it's mostly all tier 10 stuff. That is not feasible for the average player. It's not feasible for me. It's probably not feasible for you. So you're gonna have to survive with other means, and the easiest one is just changing your play style. But before we worry about playstyle though, some requirements for your plane, very low requirements for me. You should be able to hit your max speed. There's no reason you can't hit your max speed. It's just put more thrusters, upgrade your thrusters, reduce your weight. You need to be able to hit your max speed. It's very important to be maneuverable. You want to it's not completely necessary, but I generally need, for me, I need to be able to go straight up without losing speed. Or at least losing very little speed. That is just part of my play style. It's very important to me. Maybe not so important to you, but to me that is unnecessary for my ship. And believe it or not, that's really not hard to achieve. As long as you have as best thrusters as you can. Like, I only have 6 tier 6 thrusters for this whole thing. I say only, which I could probably only need 3 of them, so I have twice as many as I need. You really don't need, as long as you're upgrading your thrusters, you really don't need that many. You also only need really only, whoa, lag? Alright, I just dropped from 60 FPS to 5. Don't know what happened. Alright, don't know what's happening. It's like every time I record, I can go in for a few seconds at max 60 FPS and then it just drops to like 5. Never had that happen before. Hopefully it doesn't do that. Alright, anyways, I just switched the recording from full to half, so it might look a little worse, but whatever. Anyways, where was I? Thrusters. Something about thrusters? Can't remember. I'll just run over the basics again. So, as a recap, guns unobstructed all the way at the bottom, so they can shoot 360 degrees without hitting anything. Very important. Wings and thrusters towards the top of the craft, and basically you just want them to be as less exposed as possible from below, from enemy fire. Thrusters, as like high tier thrusters as you can get. You don't need shit tons of every tier all over your ship and every available space, just enough to get you moving, and then maybe a little extras in case you take some shots. I only have 6 tier 6. Let me talk about my tiers. 4 tier 5 wings, 2 tier 5 or 2 tier 6 rudders. Why is that different tiers? Yeah, these are tier 6. Am I like reading that wrong? It says tier 5. Huh, that's a little bug. They're tier 6 wings, but they say tier 5. Alright. Anyways, tier 6 wings, 4 of them. These are tier 4 electroplates, and I believe these are tier 5s. Electroplates take up a lot of flops. If you're a lower level, you don't really have flops to spare, just use blocks instead of electroplates. It's not going to be as effective, but it'll help you in the long runs because you'll have more flops to put for your importanter stuff like thrusters and wings and stuff. That's basically it for the important stuff. You can see I have a tier 5 radar jammer on here just because, you know, I had it later on. Why not? Doesn't hurt. Right now I'm gonna jump into a game, and so I'm gonna let it load and I'll be back. Alright guys, welcome back. Here we are loading up. So we're just gonna talk about my play style. Basically how I play this is I am going to be waiting way back. You see my little point bomber thing there? I'm probably not even gonna go past that. I'm just gonna fly around. Just go straight up at first, gain as much altitude as possible. I'm not really a fan of this map or whatever. I didn't like play 10 matches and I'm picking my best. This is just a match I joined. I muted my sound for Robocraft, and I don't know if you know there's a bug, but if you're alt tabbed out when you're joining a match, your game will just crash. So I quit the video, turned my sound back on because I hate the music in this game, and then I joined the match. So that's why there's a cut, but this is the first match I've played. So on to the gameplay. You'll see I'm still hovering over at a relatively high altitude. I'm still flying right directly over my base. And the reason for this is when you're bombing, you don't want to have too many enemies in your view. It's generally a bad idea because, like, if I was pushed up as much as that guy, railgunned. The difference between me and him, I get one shot at my railguns. So see how alright, so right now I can see 2 enemies in my view. No reason to see anymore. I can still shoot them. I can still hit them. Look, I just got a kill. So it works, right? As long as you can hit your shots from a far distance, which all it does is take some practice, there's no reason to push up and have the whole enemy team looking at you. Alright, so we can see there's an enemy pushing up ahead. We'll take care of him. He's our next up. So, alright, so he has a railgun, so now I need to be careful. Alright. Looks like there's an SMG guy right there too. Don't underestimate SMGs. They will rip you apart. If you get a high tier one, they will rip you apart. And that's another reason to stay high. SMGs aren't very effective at long range, so stay high and try to avoid them as you can. Alright, see, I gotta be careful here. There's a railgunner right there. I saw he missed his railgun shot, so I'm gonna stay at the very edge. So notice, we're already a few minutes into this, and I'm still hovering over my base. But I'm doing damage. I already have a kill. I'm playing effectively. There's no reason to push up. If I see more than 3 people in my view, That right there tells me that I'm pushed up too far and I need to back off immediately. There's no reason. You can't bomb 3 people at once. If there's more than 2 people in your view, no reason to be there. Back up, bomb 1 at a time, then move up. There's no reason to gear, because unless you're not gonna bomb, like if there's a person there, and there, I'm gonna back up immediately. I'll worry about this guy, then that guy, and then that guy. I'm not gonna have them all in my view and try to do everything at once. Because what's gonna happen is they're gonna see you, they're gonna be like, oh, an easy kill, and that's gonna be their focus point. See, now there's a railgunner here. So, alright, it looks like he missed his shots because he backed off. He hit me, don't know what he took out, but I still have my wings. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but what I did is when I saw him, I immediately turned and faced. I put the bottom of my ship towards him for multiple reasons. That way, what he sees is, he sees my armor, he sees my electroplates, and he sees my guns. So my guns have a nice clean shot, and my wings and thrusters aren't as exposed. That's generally what you want to do. So SMG. So now you see that now that I'm way far in the match, you notice that I was able to move up all the way to the enemy's base, only seeing 2 enemies at a time, and that's your goal. That's what you want to do when you're flex bombing. You can only bomb 1 person at a time, so why have 5 people in your view? That's just gonna get you shot down. Play very far back, and when there's a few people, when you know there's no threat to you, that's when you move up. That's when you go for it. I'll play one more match and talk about some more things. So generally, your goal as a bomber is to be safe as possible. I'm shooting at max range, and it's kind of a trade-off. When you shoot at max range, you're less accurate with your plasma, and you have harder shots to hit. However, it's harder for the enemy to hit you, so it's worth it because you're safer. I don't dive bomb. Don't do that unless there's 1 person left, and I'm just having a little fun. I don't think dive bombing is a very good strategy. What else is there talking about? Air-to-air combat. It happens. People get their bombers and they fly over. Even if I'm just chilling, how I always bomb, over near my base. Oh, there's a wall. Ooh, right. I hate the wall. It's like glue. But anyways, people come at you with their bombers, or they strap SMGs onto a plane and they just target enemy planes. Generally, you want to just try to be above them, be above height. Also, what you need to be wary of is areas over. And wow, my gun's not turned quick enough. Areas over there where you are able to land on. What people do is they make a ship with a bunch of railguns on it, and then they just land on the outskirts of the map and shoot planes out. So you need to be wary of those things. If I see someone like that, they're pretty easy to tell. They're not going to fly with railguns. I mean, I have seen it before, but it's not very effective. It's not a stable enough platform to get a good shot off. If they fly up and they immediately land when they see you, you got to back the fuck out. There's no way you're going to 1v1 him. You're not going to outbox a railgun as a plasma bomber, unless you get the drop on him. Here it goes, FPS dropping. Don't know what's happening. Alright. Just stopped recording and started recording again. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I don't know why that's happening. It really makes no sense. Alright, so here I got 2 enemies in my view, and I have no friendly teammates on the ground that are in front of them. That means they're going to be focused on me and my air target up, my air buddy up here. Generally, your goal is to have the enemy focused on your ground targets, and so you can bomb through. That is your goal. So see how that guy is, they're in battle? Free for me. Alright, so now I'm in a really bad situation. The only reason I'm alive right now is because they have a noise. They're too busy getting the free kill, and that allows me to just get away and keep bombing. Alright, so what I'm doing there, that was bad. You have to make sure you let your guns turn before you shoot, or else your shot would be skewed. So they have to be, you get used to, but I still make that mistake sometimes. Alright, so right now I'm kind of breaking my rule, but that's because I know they pose no threat. One guy was at 20%. I dropped too much altitude right there. One guy is at 20% and they're not shooting at me. I just did it again. I got all my guns rotate. So that is the only reason I was on there. Oh shit. I can't stay on the wall. I don't know why, but I can never get away from it. It's like glue. It's like you get a bee, and you just like put honey and water, and they just fly into it and they get stuck. That's me on the wall. Oh well. Yeah. Alright, this guy's gonna try to run. No run for me, buddy. Alright, so I'm gonna ignore that guy now because this guy is much more of a, come on, keep doing that. This guy's much more of a threat. So I'm gonna get a good angle on him. Alright, so now I'm getting pushed up a little too far, and that's what happens. You get railgunned. As I said, I pushed up too far, I got railgunned. It's just the bomber life, you gotta be careful. I moved up too far, wasn't paying attention, and I immediately got punished for it. That just goes to show you need to be very, very careful when you are playing as a plasma bomber. If you just follow my advice, I find that works very well. What happens sometimes, which is unfortunate, is your team completely fails on the ground, and then the enemy just rushes your base, and you're kind of screwed. Because as much as you like as much as you like to be like the carry, I don't know if you know these are MOBA terms, but as much as you like to be the carry or the guy who's winning the game for your team, you're more of a support class as a bomber. You're not on the front line, you're not taking the damage, you're just standing back and doing damage. I mean, you'll one-shot people sometimes, but a lot of times you're only doing like 15, 25, 30% of their health, which is still a good amount, but you're not like, you're a support class. So if your team fails, you're pretty much screwed. If you have like 5 people rushing you, it all goes to show like you need to play very careful. You need to only focus on one person at a time and not let anybody else see you. Two people, 1 or 2. In that match, you see I had 3 people in my view for a long time. That's because I knew I had no risk. One guy wasn't shooting, he didn't have any guns or something, or he was charging up his laser guns. It's just whatever, rail guns, not laser guns, whatever. I knew he wasn't a threat. So that's pretty much it, guys. I want to do a slow 360 of my ship, just to go if you want to like look at the design. But I don't think design's that important, but I know you might want to look into. I don't think, as long as you follow the basics, wings on top, thrusters up and top, armor where you can, guns unobstructed, I think you'll do fine if you play it right. So that's just my play style. I don't do dive bombs. I don't like fly low. I love to stay high and stuff, and it works for me generally. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, just let me know.